10 tips before using the IOL cutter and forceps. First, to try with a cheap foldable IOL in vitro first before using it in vivo to get comfortable. Second, the power is linear, continuous like in Phaco 1 and not pulse nor torsional. Third, the right hand for right-handed people holds the probe and the tip cuts the IOL from the periphery towards the center while simultaneously giving counter pressure with the left hand. For in vivo, keep the cutting tip at the center of the AC where the space is maximum, as away from the endothelium as possible, and instead move the left hand with the forceps backwards towards the main incision, sort of as if feeding the IOL into the open jaws of the cutting tip. Simultaneous movement of the right hand forward and the left hand backward from the start gives the best results. 5. Can start with 50% power and go down up to 20% in steps of 10 to give maximum endothelial protection. Go with the least phaco power your machine cuts with. 6. Aspiration and vacuum are kept at 0. Irrigation should be on but low to prevent turbulence in the anterior chamber. 7. In vivo chondroitin sulfate is a must to protect the endothelium, keeping the tip as posterior as possible. 8. To keep the sleeve pulled back as much as possible to prevent tearing. Release any twists in the sleeve. 9. The forceps are made of steel so as to be strong. Other forceps may break as a good amount of counter pressure is required. The tip is titanium. 10. Cuts both hydrophilic, softer, and hydrophobic, harder IOLs. So the jaws don't open and close like a pair of scissors, but in fact, using the ultrasonic power, they just slice through the IOL. In industrial use also, this is a comparison between ordinary blade or scissor cutting versus ultrasonic blade cutting. The temperatures were tested at the tip, at the irrigation ports of a normal phaco tip and of the IOL cutting tip. In both, the temperatures were found to be same between 22 to 25 degrees Celsius. Get a good grip with your left hand holding the IOL very firmly and then slide the right hand forward, at the same time sliding the left hand backward. If you see the sleeve is intact, you have to pull the sleeve as behind as possible and release the twists and turns in the sleeve. You will have an intact sleeve, else the sleeve can tear. So counter pressure with the other hand is the trick. So this becomes like a fire extinguisher which you have in the OT. In case of emergency, it can be used. One can ETO the instrument and keep it aside, or one can have it autoclaved in their instrument box. I think all instrument boxes can have one IOL cutter. It's commercially available at iolcutter.in. This is to demonstrate the two holes in the sleeve shouldn't get engaged in the tip, so do not proceed like this. Turn the sleeve such that the holes are perpendicular to the forked tip. Otherwise, the fork tip can engage into the hole and tear your sleeve. So keep it perpendicular like this. Now pull the sleeve backwards or behind such that the forked tip is out, and now gently rotate it behind. Usually the amount we keep the phaco tip outside, here you keep this tip little more outside so that your sleeve doesn't get cut while cutting the IOL. So this is correct. If you keep it this much, it's too little. You can damage your sleeve. So take it behind, and the two holes for the irrigation should be perpendicular to the tip so as to give good flow. This is infinity machine which has a very thin sleeve and yet it is not damaged. There are separate tips for each phaco machine. Do not interchange the tips. The tip which has been provided for your machine, please use it on that machine only. There are 3 different thread types. There are 6 different lengths and there are 2 different thicknesses. So if you try to interchange, you may end up tearing the sleeve and you will not get the ultimate ultrasonic power at the tip. We want the lowest power to prevent endothelial damage. So stick to your tip with your machine. Thank you so much for your patient listening.